All right, and now I'm joined by Lucy Black and Jazzi Marzcat, members from the new synth group Blazestation. How you going, girls?
Hi, Marko.
Hey, Marko.
I'm glad you girls could join us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Now, can you tell us a bit about this awesome new synth group, Blazestation, you girls are a part of? And how did it all come about?
It's kind of a funny story. It all started off on SoundCloud. One day, Florent Campana just followed me out of the blue, so I followed him back. I listened to a few of his songs here and there as he released them, and eventually he released one that had kind of like a vaporwave feel to it. So I sent him a comment in the song asking him if he ever thought of doing like a full vaporwave song. Mm-hmm. And he said he didn't know what that was, so he had to look it up. And once he found out what vaporwave was, he absolutely loved the idea. Then I think I put him on to Power Cut, which I actually just had heard from your show when Ricky and you had recommended it.
That's right.
Yeah, I recommended that to him, and he really liked the nostalgia one, which I think is what maybe got him into like the saxophone kind of mood. Eventually, after that, I think that we got talking about synthetics, and he said that he was already a member of the group, which I didn't know, and he was a good friend of Corey Benedict. So soon after that, I think he posted a song in synthetics, and Jazzi liked it and commented on the song, and I think it's right about that time that she started to become friends with him.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, he had friended me, and on my Facebook page it says I'm an artist because I do paint, but I haven't painted for a long time, and he had friended me and started asking me about my artwork. And from there, we just started talking about art and music and everything, and we ended the conversation. We just became really good friends. I mean, it was really cool because he's just a great person to talk to. And by the end of the conversation, he had told me, you know, I really love creating music and like with different sounds. So he asked me if I could make a recording like of anything and just send it to him. So within about a day, I had, it was spring at the time, and I live out in the country, so I had went outside and during the evening, and there was the spring peepers, like the frogs singing and the birds out by our creek in the front of our house. Yep. So I had went out there, and I'm walking around the field, and I'm recording all these sounds, and I had sent them to him, and from that recording, he had created the drums for the first song that's on our album, First Wave. So, and from there, it's been pretty much really a roller coaster ride to awesomeness.
Very, very well put.
And for the picture, like I knew Corey had been brought into it because he says he knew Corey had a whole bunch, like he knew where to find 80s style pictures. So for the picture for First Wave on SoundCloud, he had tapped into Corey's resources there, and there I knew we brought Corey in, and I had told him how cool Lucy was, and then Lucy came in.
Your outstanding debut album Liftoff was released earlier this week. What was it like working on it, and were you happy with the result? It's an impressive album to say the least.
Oh, well, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, working on this album was just like a ton of fun. When we first started, we didn't really know that we were making an album. We were just kind of working on different songs, just having fun, basically, as friends. So it's just kind of like a big journey. And it was just fun, too, because certain days I would wake up and not know what would be in my inbox, like if it would be a new track from Florent that he was working on, that he used like some of our field recordings from, or maybe it would be a track where he wanted to get some vocals. So it was really a fun experience because I never knew what to expect.
I'm really just happy with everything. We really did start off on this like as a project just for fun, and just became friends so well, and everything was just experimenting and trying things out for the first time, and it's just been really great. And I can't believe, but Florent is a total musical genius. I mean, the music he would come up with, and then with our recordings, and he would just like play a song and say like, oh, here's a new song I just did, and what do you think about it? And for some reason we just totally flowed together with it so well, and I'm really thrilled of all the support we've been getting for it. So just really, really, really happy with it.
Yeah, you get so many positive comments on SoundCloud and that. It's pretty crazy, really.
Yeah, it's been great.
Do either of you have a musical or vocal background before the formation of Blazestation that you might like to share with us, please?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a musical background. When I was 6, I took drum lessons for about a year or so. I kind of got bored with that and moved on to the piano. I always liked playing the piano at my grandma's house because she always had one like right in the living room, and I used to like to sound out different songs, like try to figure out how to play songs just by like hearing them. So eventually I started to take piano lessons. I took them for several years, but it really didn't amount to much because I didn't practice very much. I just wasn't very good about practicing, I guess. Besides that, I guess I was in choir for a few years in high school. But besides that, that's my musical extent.
Cool. What about you, Jazzi?
Yeah, I have kind of the same similar experience as Lucy. I played the clarinet and I sang in the choir in school. And so it wasn't nothing professional. And the coolest thing is my grandfather had taught me how to play the piano when I was really young. And from there, I just really have an affinity for the piano. And then even more so because, well, I love science fiction, fantasy, and horror. So to me, like keyboards and synthesizers embodiment like the futuristicness of pianos. So I just, from my experience with playing the piano with my grandfather, it just brings back really good memories to play the piano. And then with the keyboard, it's like I'm embracing the future too. So I just, that's where I kind of been. But I've never been like in a band before or played professional for anything. But I've really always loved music and always was experimenting with stuff. Maybe I'm not the best at it, but I love trying out new things and just, being creative, whether it's like through art or music or anything like that. I've just got a bass guitar recently and I'm, trying to teach myself how to play that. Not too good, but it's, a lot of fun.
Cool. All right, now the next question is just for Lucy. I wanted to ask you about the song Runaway. It's a beautiful song. You really nailed it with the stunning vocals. Is there anything you can share with us about its production or what inspired you to record such amazing vocals?
That's a good question. That was a song that Florent sent to me, and he already had like a good bit of the song finished, and he asked me if I would mind trying to come up with some vocals, like actually singing on it, because before that it was all just talking pretty much. That was kind of nerve-wracking for me because I've never sung like professionally on a song before. And so I was like, wow, okay, what should I think up here? I started off just with something simple, like the hook of the song, where it just says run away, just run away.
Yeah.
Not really sure how it popped into my head. It just sounded good with like what Florent came up with. So I just went with it and sent it to him, and then he really liked it and asked me if I could continue on with it and add some verses. So that's when I figured, okay, maybe I'll try to like make this something kind of positive that somebody's running away from. I didn't want to make it like something scary or sad.
Yeah.
So like just like basically the song is about making what you want out of life and kind of like running away from people that try to tell you who you are or what they think you should do. Just kind of like a positive message for people.
Yeah, well, it really shines through, definitely.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you like it.
Well, I have played that song before, and it is playing in the background currently, but I'm going to play another song that I haven't played before off the album Liftoff. This is Jazzicizing.
Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. almost there.
I also wanted to ask you, Jazzi, about your very sexy and seductive vocals featured on the song Batcat. Can you tell us a bit about how the song came about and perhaps where some of your awesome lines actually came from?
From what I had heard is that Florent had told me that Lucy had recorded a sound which we all thought were the sound of bat wings. And he got back to me and he goes, "Okay, Jazzi, you have to be sexy. We want you to be sexy or something. Bring on Catwoman." And I'm like, how am I going to do this? So I'm a big fan of Batman and Catwoman in comic books. Mm-hmm. That's probably apparent to me. And so it wasn't too hard I was looking through some of my comic books and just looking for phrases that Catwoman would say. And I realized, if she's going to be sexy, she's in power. She's bringing it on. So I just kind of took a lot of words from the comic book, some personal, and I, just went for it. I just, imagined myself speaking to Batman, and just I went right for it.
Cool. Well, shit. Yeah, it's like.
But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to role play.
Well, that's cool because I was always wondering where those lines came from. I didn't know if you actually came up with it. I'm not that familiar with the comics themselves and lines and all that. So no, that's very interesting.
Yeah, there's a little bit I had added into it, of course, but yeah, it's basically me being Catwoman.
Awesome.
Every woman should be Catwoman.
How did you girls get into the 80s retro scene?
Guess I kind of have a little bit of a long story here, so I'll try to keep it short. I found it that I've always been a fan of new wave music from the 80s and, synthesizer music. When I was saying before with my my grandfather teaching me how to play the piano, so I always have an affinity for keyboards and synthesizers. Plus with my my love of science fiction, fantasy, and horror, it just sounds like the future to me. So about a couple of years ago, I got a new laptop and I could finally watch YouTube, like for the first time, which was really crazy. And I just started looking for everything really obscure with like new wave. I was thinking that there has to be like an artist that wasn't released or nobody really heard of. And maybe like the person, uploaded on YouTube, and I was finding really a lot of cool stuff.
Yep.
So I had come across, just out of the blue, I was thinking I love the 80s so much, and I was thinking, what was the cool stuff about the 80s? And I remember thinking I love the neon lights and just like kind of the street scenes and things. So I came up with this word, neon noir, and I had typed that in. And I think there's some bands like that called that now, but it wasn't at the time. And I had found Noir Deco's song, Neon Noir Nightclub. Yes. And from there, finding Noir Deco's music, I just, went right into everything on the side was Laserhawk and Betamax and Perturbator. And I was like, first I thought maybe these guys were from the 80s. And it took me a long time to actually finally realize, oh my God, they're new. And I was so happy. I was like, people are really recreating the sound that I love. And so from there on in, it's just been so cool. And I'm not sure where I had heard of synthetics. Somehow it had to be listed someplace. Maybe I had Googled one of the producers and the name came up. And that's where I started following everybody on Facebook and got into the Synthetics FM group. And it's just been really awesome. I just love everybody's music. I love all the differences between, you know, they wouldn't say if it's Outrun or even the softer, more romantic stuff, or even the glitch stuff. Like, everything is just, any time of the day, you know, whatever I'm feeling, there's like some kind of music out of this synthwave scene that I love to relax to, or, you know, get the groove on to, or clean the house to. So I really just love it all.
What about you, Lucy?
I got into the synth scene, well, first I guess I've always liked 80s music. I've pretty much like go through different stages where I like different music, like all kinds of different stuff, 60s, 70s, 80s, stuff from today, swing music. But eventually, like, I guess maybe it was like a year or so ago, I was really into gaming, and I was playing Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, and if you played that game, then you know like how much 80s humor there is, and it just so much neon stuff. It's just an awesome game, and the soundtrack was like so good. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, who is this Power Glove? So I looked them up and downloaded their soundtrack and the rest of their music that they had out, and I guess that was pretty much it. I just was listening to them for a while. Then a few months after that, Hotline Miami came out, and that was yet another great 80s game soundtrack, and that was a lot of fun, because then at that point I started getting into SoundCloud more, and trying to find out more about these artists that were in Hotline Miami, and finding their music. I think like maybe a few more months after that, maybe it was like early January, I eventually came across Com Truse's music, and I think that's what like really just got me super hooked. I was just like listening to his music constantly every day for a few months, and eventually I was like, okay, I need even more music. I love this kind of music. I need to find even more synth music. So I started looking on Facebook, and I just typed in synth, like in the group section, and the first thing that showed up was Synthetics. So I was like, hey, that sounds cool. I'm going to check it out. There's a whole lot of members. And I was just amazed at like all the people that I was listening to. Most of them, I mean, were members, like Perturbator. I was like, wow, I could actually talk to this person if I wanted to and let them know how much I like their music. It's just like such an awesome experience being able to connect with people over music and make new friends that like the same kind of music as me. Just such a great experience.
Oh, it's nice to have you girls on board.
Thanks.
It's a wonderful scene. I love it so much. It's amazing how friendly everybody. I mean, we have our fights now and then, but it's really. I would know.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that too. Yes.
Well, we're passionate about our music.
Well, that's what happens when you're passionate about stuff.
But it's a wonderful scene, and I also cannot believe how the music I've been listening to, you can also talk to the people who are creating it. I've spazzed out a couple times, or maybe more than a couple times talking to people, but it's like, thank goodness I have this computer between me and this person, because they have no idea how much I'm jumping up and down talking to them right now.
Yeah.
Are you seated right now?
No, I'm actually standing.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to start jumping right now.
Don't make me laugh. I'm not feeling that well still. Oh, shit. After your stellar debut album, I can only hope you all keep working together. Are there any plans for making more music together in the near future?
I would say definitely. We have one song done, and I think there's another one in the processes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of don't know about the second song, but I know the first one's done.
Awesome. That's quick.
Okay. Lucy, do you know about the second one? Because I kind of don't.
Yeah, it's actually one that I recorded some vocals on. I haven't heard like how it's turning out yet, but we are working on another one.
Okay. Oh, cool. So yeah, we're still in it.
Awesome. Hopefully Corey can do some vocals as well.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
You got-
we
you
would
got
love
back,
that.
ladies.
Yeah. I do believe him and Florent had a jam session, so that should be cool to hear. I haven't
about
heard
that.
that yet.
I heard about
Yeah.
that. Apparently it was a lot of fun.
Yes. And so that's, we still got it going on.
Cool. All right, so I got one last question. I'm going to play your brilliant new song, Unison, in a moment. Now, the uplifting harmonies in it are really amazing. How did the song come about? And is there anything you can share with us about it, or what it was like making that beautiful song? It really is a song you girls should be proud of.
Yeah, it's my personal favorite. I think it sounds really beautiful. I love hearing all our voices come together. It started out that Florent had a song and he wanted vocals on it. And I believe I had already done Batcat, so this was something that I was listening to, and he had his vocals on it. And I said, well, I could maybe do something, in harmony with yours. So it took me like 6 or 7 takes. And I was actually talking to Lucy and Florent at the, on the Facebook messaging at the same time, and they're waiting for me to get one done, and I'm like retaking it over and over again. And then I finally took, I think it was like the 6th or 7th one I finally sent to him, and he had matched it up with the song, and then he took Lucy's vocals, and then like a day later he had told me he made an acapella with it.
Yeah.
And when he played it, I was totally amazed. I'm happy with the way it came out.
It was a really fun song to make. I really liked the harmonies that we came up with. And I don't know if you noticed, but if you kind of listen to the harmonies, it almost sounds like we're saying Unison.
No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that, so I'll be listening now because I'm going to play it in a minute, so
Okay.
we'll all be
See if
listening.
you think so too. Big shout out to Havana Chase for our awesome logo and artwork. She's really blown us away by like the amazing artwork that she's done. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to her.
We really appreciate everything she's done for us.
Okay, now you can get Blazestation's new album Liftoff, which is available at blazestation.bandcamp. I will have the link up on my playlist as well. Thanks very much for joining us, girls.
Thank you,
Thanks
Marko.
so much for having us.
No worries. And this is the song we were just talking about. This is Unison, which is off the album.
I think this interview went just perfect.
Synthwave.